Hello, good morning, all of you. Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Last time, if you remember, we have finished with the principles of communication, if you remember. And now today we'll start with this one, barriers of communication. Now, when we see what is a barrier, first of all, we should understand what exactly meant by barrier.
हॅलो मॅम.
Ha, yes, Saurabh. Ha.
मॅम मी ऑफलाईन कॉलेजला आलोय. कुठल्या लेक्चर हॉल मध्ये लेक्चर
रूम
चालू आहे?
नंबर 8 मध्ये ये.
8 मध्ये.
008. हा.
00. ओके मॅम. ओके, थँक्यू मॅम.
ठीक आहे. एक मिनिट. I have to lift the computer because I will go in the net. Just a minute. एकच मिनिट. I'll just mute the things. Just okay. It is good that we have not started, so that actually I took earlier 2 lectures in the stuff. Okay. So I was talking about let's barriers of communication. So before I go ahead with this presentation, I would like to know, what do you understand by the term barriers? Any idea? Yes. What does it mean by barriers? Yes. Okay.
Restrictions.
Yes, Ashish.
Restrictions.
Rest ka?
Restrictions.
Okay, restrictions, yeah. Obstacles, yes. Barriers means the obstacles or some problems that affect the communication. So what are those, or what are those barriers which affect our communication? So today we are going to see various things, or various types, not types actually, the points which usually affect the communication, and we are even not aware of that. We don't even understand that, oh, this can be the problem in understanding the other person. Okay, so here, if we know that, or if we understand that, then we will avoid that. And if we avoid that, we can become more better speakers or communicators. Okay, so let us understand what is exactly meant by the barriers of communication and which are those barriers. Okay, so barriers are the obstacles in communication. There are certain barriers which affect the process of communication, and as a result, it does not yield the desired result or feedback. However, we can improve our communication by way of understanding the various barriers and avoiding them in our daily life. So, when can we avoid them? If we know them, if we understand them, then only we can avoid it. Otherwise, we will continue with the same understanding that whatever we are following until now is the right one, is the correct one. So if we want to become the better communicators, we should also improve our communication, and moreover, we should try and understand which ways. Excuse me. Hello. So, however, we can improve our communication by way of understanding the various barriers. So what I was trying to tell, that if we know what is the problem in communication, then we can avoid that problem. Okay. So with what kind of such problems or what kind of such barriers are there, we can learn today. Okay. So this now here, I'll show you this. Can you see this image? Yeah, I've So this is the image actually, which when we used to teach, in offline mode last to last year. Actually, I drew that, and one of the students had posted it on the group, class group. So luckily I had that image. So I have used that image in this PowerPoint presentation so that I can explain it with the help of diagram. Okay. So this diagram, if you see, perhaps you may not be able to see the exact letters that are there. Just a minute. Yeah. So I have now, you can see the barriers of communication. And the first one, if you see, it's a linguistic barrier. I'll just read out those names so that we can later on, I have detailed presentation about those barriers. So linguistic presentation, linguistic barrier. Then we have a semantic barrier. Then we can also have that cultural barrier. Then personality barrier. Then emotional barrier. Then physical or mechanical barrier. Then overloading barrier. Then socio-psychological barrier and organizational barrier. These are some of the major barriers which we should understand as a part of business communication, because they sometimes affect our communication, and as a result we fail to grow in our business or in profession. So let us understand first one. Okay, now these are the barriers that I read now from that figure. Okay, so semantic, linguistic, cultural, personality, organizational, interpersonal, physical, overloading, etc. Okay, so these are the various barriers. Now let us understand what is semantic barrier. Okay, I want somebody to read this. Who will read this slide? Rishikesh, will you read the slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Semantic barrier, the barrier that due the meaning of the word. This implies the inability to the
This
concern.
implies.
क्या ma'am?
This implies.
This implies. Okay. This implies is inability to converse in a language that known by both the sender and received. It the often the result of
Misunderstanding.
understanding of the some concept by two different user of the some language. E.g.
For example, it is known read as for example.
For example, a word corrupt has many meaning. The person is corrupt literally means who accept the barrier.
Bribes.
Right. Right. Illegally accept the money, many to do the unlawful things. The feeling corrupt, which mean the data from the field cannot be accessed as the file is corrupt.
Okay. So here, if you see, now semantic barrier. First of all, what is a semantic barrier? A semantic barrier is that which is occurred due to the meaning of the sentence or word. So if you do not understand a meaning of the word or the sentence, then it automatically leads to the confusion. And if you are confused, you may not be able to communicate effectively. So the communication which affects due to the meaning of the sentence or meaning of the words, it is known as semantic barrier. Now, it can lead to the misunderstanding of the concept by two different users of the same. Now, why I'm saying two different users? For example, when I use the word corrupt, so the word corrupt means usually the person who is involved in accepting the unlawful money or illegal money. So he or she is a corrupt person. Getting it? But if you use the same word in sense of the file in computers, okay, the file is corrupt. So when you say the data is corrupt or the file is corrupt, that means that irrecoverable data, the data cannot be recovered, retrieved. Getting it? So here the word corrupt has the same spelling, but it has a different meaning when used at a different context, when used in a different context. Did you understand that? Yes, Saurabh? Okay. So there are many such examples. We can look for such examples, or even you can also give me a few examples which you find that there is a simple word is same, but the meanings are different. Okay. Now, I have given, now let's see the various meanings. Okay. Various examples. Can you see the words here? For example, channels. So when you say the channel word, so you know only the TV channel. Getting it? So from this channel to this channel you say. But the another meaning of the word channel is the ways. So these are the various channels of information. Getting it? So channels can also be meant as a ways. Then look at the word figure. Who will read that word explanation? Saurabh, you are online. Did you write your attendance in the chat box? Yeah. Okay, all those students who are present, write your attendance in the chat box. So who will read that example? I'll explain them. Yeah. तू वाचतोयस का? Okay. Ashish, please read the example.
Yes, ma'am. Figure number 1.2 or facts and figures, that is digital numbers, zero figures.
Okay, so I have given you the 3 different examples. For example, when I use the word figure, so I can say that refer to figure number 1.2 from the chapter. Okay, so that is a diagram. That figure refers to the diagram. Then when I say facts and figures, that is facts and figures means the statistical data that is available with me. On the basis of that, I can conclude this. Getting it? So the information, the statistical presentation or graphical presentation that is available with me, I can take the decision. Okay. And then zero figure. You all know how people, there's a craze for zero figure. Okay, among the girls. Okay. Now, so there are different words, but they are used, sorry, it is the same word, but if it is used in a different context, it means differently. Now, next example is form. Okay, so who, Saurabh, read that example of form.
Form the group. Second, the team is in the form. And third is submit the form.
Mute कर. हाँ तेच एको होते ह्याच्यामध्ये. ओके स्टुडंट काय हाँ तेच त्याच्यामुळेच. हाँ so okay, so here in this example of form, you can see that form the group means you have to work in a group. So you have to form the group of 5 or 10 students together. Okay, then the team is in the form. Okay, the team is in the form means they are doing well, they are excelling in their performance. Okay, and then submit the form. So you have to submit the form, that is the written application. Getting it? So various shades of the same word, the shades of meaning we can see if we use them in a different context. Then when a person uses inappropriate words while conversing or writing, it could lead to the misunderstanding between the sender and the receiver. So if such words are spelled or written at a different place in a context, you may not understand the exact meaning. Okay, now next one is linguistic barrier. Now what is that linguistic barrier? A barrier that takes place or that happens due to the not understanding of the language of the person. So language cannot be answered. Maybe either you are not known, either you do not know that language. Secondly, you do not understand the accent of the person. You do not understand the tone of that in which it is stated. So there are many aspects of the language that affects our communication. Now here I would like to give you some examples and how language differs. Though it is, for example, we all speak English, but sometimes my pronunciation you will find, oh, we have not learned this pronunciation for this word, we have learned something else. Now something else means not entirely different, but there's a slight variation in that. Okay, so how it differs from region to region, or how and pronunciation differs from person to person. But the IPA, that is International Received Pronunciation, that is authority, they say that as long as you are understood by the other person, your pronunciation cannot affect the language. Okay, so even if I say hour or if I say unless the other person doesn't understand what I'm saying, my communication is not successful. Getting it? So similarly, I have given you here 2 examples, 2, 3, but I'll come to that example later on, and I'll share one experience with you people, and that experience will tell you how language can become a barrier. If you listen to a person from South India, okay, so you will find, if you say a large number of people have participated in that event, okay, or you can say n number of students have participated. So when I say n number of students, so here if you listen to a person who is from South, you say n number of students have participated. Are you getting it? So that tone automatically changes. So n number and n number. So it is a kind of a mother tongue impact. Getting it? It is a mother tongue impact which affects the communication. See, and then I was talking about that experience. Maybe very around 2000, in the year 2000, we had been to this Amritsar, Punjab, and we wanted to go to that Baga border, from Amritsar to Baga border. And we had been there at the bus station. And I went and asked that station master, so I want to go to Baga border. Where is the next bus for that? I want to go to that. So the person answered, the current bus has gone. I failed to understand what this man has said. Again, I asked, sir, I want to go to Baga border. I want the bus timing. Again, he said the current bus has gone. Then I failed to understand why he's saying something. Then I looked back. When I looked back, there was a person who was standing behind me. I asked, sir, can you tell me what this man is trying to tell? Then he asked, and he said the same thing. The current bus has gone. So that person who was from Punjab, or from, he could understand him. So he said, ma'am, he is trying to say the current bus has gone. That means the bus at this time which was there, it has gone now. You have to wait for another half an hour. Oh my God. Then I said, oh my God, thank you. You should have said it, the current bus. He said current bus. So current and current has 2 different, So this is how your pronunciation, the impact of mother tongue language also affect the communication. Getting it? And you will find n number of examples around you. Getting it? If you listen to them very carefully. Okay. So it is the barrier which occurs due to the language. So sometimes next, if this is English, whatever we are studying is in English. But what if tomorrow, if I start teaching all these things in French. I don't know French, but imagine. But then if I want to teach it in French, I should ensure that the students who are going to listen me, they are also able to understand French. If they do not understand French, what is the use of that communication? Because neither the one who is going to listen to me, they are not going to understand. Okay, so now coming back to these three examples, as I said, that pronunciation can differ, but the only thing is that even if it differs, you have to only understand whether it is understood by the other person or not. If it is understood, then it's okay. There's no problem. Okay, and I'm not sure. Did you people watch that movie called English Winglish? Have you seen the movie English Winglish? Any one of you? Okay. Yes, Vicky. Okay, if you have not seen the movie, let us you watch that movie English Winglish and look at the fun element with which they learn English. That's a quite interesting movie. You know, you will learn the way in which English has been taught to these people. And of course, Sri Devi has acted so well that you will understand that. And except actually, I wanted to screen that part of English class through this video. Maybe sometimes I get it. So it is the barrier which occurs due to language, which English has many such examples. Then an R or R's. Okay, an R. So now it is our. Now when I say an R, that means the clock. I'm referring to the clock. HOUR. Okay, an R. You will find on your tickets also, bus tickets, it says HRS, that is ours. Okay, but the next R is OUR, that is, it is our problem. You know, say you people say we have our problem. It is not our, it is our. Getting it? Okay, so we should say it's our problem, not our problem. Okay, should correct yourself. And of course, there is one word also I can write here if I can type the things or it. Escape. See, if you see this our R and then R, getting it? So there are many people, there are many students. Okay, so here you can use the to be word, verb, and here R is a like reflexive pronoun. Okay, and historical. Now you must have seen people history. People saying we study the subject of history, getting it, or history. Now, if you listen to this in Indian context, you will always accept because her sound is pronounced in Indian languages. But whereas if you go and listen to a typical British person, you will not find he's saying history. He'll say history. He'll say it's history. Getting it? Why? He'll say it's an historical movie. We as Indian will say it's a historical movie. But if you listen to any British person or an Englishman, you'll say it's an historical movie. Now, historical movie, why is it? Because that her sound does not exist in English. Getting it? And it is I that it starts with A-E-I-O-U, the vowels. So it's an historical movie. Getting it? Okay, and the next example is Hannuri. That is interesting. Actually, there is a movie called that Shakuntala Devi. And if you listen to that lady, she said, if this is acceptable in English, this is acceptable in English. If January is acceptable, then why not Hannuri? And that's the example that I have taken from that movie, like Shakuntala Devi. Okay, so that is a movie about mathematics, but I found this English example in that movie. Okay, so you have to watch it with keen eyes and wide open eyes and keen ears, so that you can find such examples around you. Okay, so this is the linguistic barriers. Okay, I hope you understand this. Okay, so can you give me some few more examples of linguistic barrier? Can you think of any other example of language it affects?
Indian people say what,
Huh.
and British people say what.
Yeah. So that is an accent. So in an accent, there is a lot of difference, and even you will see. Just let me add to that. See, if you say that the cars are having the roof cars, no, you can get up and see that. Okay. So in American, you will say that hood. There's a hood. It is called the top of that car is called as hood actually. American and British. This is the difference between languages. Even that we have a gas and a burner. Okay, so if you use the word as a gas, literally the word gas means the air. Getting it? But we Indians say, oh, gas cylinder is not there. Now you say it is gas cylinder, but actually it is not the air. It is a burner which burns. Okay, you get the flame out of that burner, and that's why we say this is our gas, 10 years old, 5 years old, 2 years old. Getting it? So this is how the difference is there and which affects the language. Okay, there are n number of examples. You can also write about that. Okay, so there is a cultural barrier again, but that will be too early to explain because I need more time to explain that cultural barrier. We'll talk later on. I think, yeah, 3 minutes. Let me try. Another barrier. Because I need some more time in cultural barrier. Okay, I'll explain physical barrier. Now, what is physical barrier? One that is what? Okay, so what is physical barrier? Now here, usually you must be imagining, oh, something related with physics. No, it is not related with physics. Yeah, the physical barrier is that which occurs due to the mechanical things. Like for example, most of the time we start our meeting and then some due to internet connectivity, the meeting gets disconnected. Okay, so some mechanical barrier, it is also known as mechanical barrier. Okay, physical or mechanical barrier. See, most of the time you are talking with your phone, on your phone with your friend, and suddenly the voice is breaking. So you tell him or her, you be in the range, please come in the range. I'm not getting what you're saying. So that is a disturbance that is created because of the distance that is there. And that is known as physical barrier. Okay, or the barrier which is occurred due to the environment or background noise. Now if we actually see here, now when you're offline, usually offline classes are there, you find the whole parking is full of students' bikes, and then the students want to impress the other people by accelerating the bike. So they keep on accelerating the bike so that everybody should pay attention to him. Oh, what is he doing? Some heroic deeds. Getting it? And so that creates barrier for learning in the class, teaching in the class, because of that continuous noise, people cannot communicate. Getting it? At the background, that noise is there. So physical barrier is that which occurs due to the some technical, some physical or some background noise or environmental noise. Okay, for example, there's a heavy rain, but you cannot get the connectivity, and because of that, you cannot hear anyone. So these are nothing but the physical or